What is the best game of every console? We're gonna be going over every single game starting from the PlayStation 1 onward, and I will be explaining why I chose the games that I did. This is purely subjective, so if you have a different list, feel free to share it in the comments section. Let's begin. The first game on my list is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters Sealed Memories, and this one is purely nostalgic because it is the first game I've ever played on the PlayStation 1, as well as the first Yu-Gi-Oh! I've ever played. Although the name is Yu-Gi-Oh!, it doesn't actually follow the rules of the game because it was developed before the real-world card game where rules were fairly established and standardized. Players draw 5 cards each turn and can summon any monster without needing to tribute others, regardless of level, similar to Kingdom of Games in Season 1. There is a unique fusion system where players can combine cards directly from their hand to create stronger monsters. You just need to try different combinations until you find the ones that work. And the goal is to reduce the opponent's life points to 0. When you beat your opponent, you get card drops and hope that you get a strong rare one, because otherwise it will be hell moving forward. It is also extremely punishing, because at some point in the story you will fight 7 bosses, and if you lose at any point, you will lose all your progress because you cannot save in between them. Although the game is 23 years old, it still gets a lot of play from one specific community, speedrunners, and it gained a lot of popularity there due to its steep exploitable RNG, mechanics, and high-level randomness. Unlike typical card games, Forbidden Memories has hidden systems for card drops and AI behavior that can be manipulated through precise actions, timing, and even frame-perfect inputs. This allows for what seems like a purely random game into a highly technical and skill-based speedrun where runners push the boundaries of game knowledge to achieve incredibly fast times, often revolving around getting specific powerful card drops early. This is one of the few games you revisit for nostalgia purposes and regret due to its difficulty. Up next is Xbox, and my favorite game from that console is Fable. Fable was an instant love story. I'm a sucker for decision-based games where you have to make choices that actually affect the story, and Fable was kind of my first experience with those types of games. For those of you who don't know this game, Fable is a fantasy adventure game where you play as a hero whose choices shape the world and your character. You start as a young boy and grow up deciding whether to be evil or good. Your actions change how people treat you and how you can look. You can fight with swords, magics, or bows, explore towns and forests, and go on quests. The story is about becoming a legendary hero or a feared villain in a magical land. And the aspect of choice and freedom is what made this game special to me. You live the hero's life however you want. You can be kind and noble, saving villagers and helping people, or you can be an asshole and you can steal, lie, and become feared. The game tracks your morality and your appearance changes over time. Good characters might get a glowing halo, while evil ones can get horns and red eyes. You can also buy houses, get married, or even have children if you want. Want to be a traveling trader? Go ahead. Prefer spending your gold on beer and bar fights? That works too. Even small choices like what clothes you wear or whether you fart in public.
Yuck.
It's not just about completing quests, it's about shaping your own legend, and that's what makes the game legendary. Oh, and I also forgot, you can kick chicken. Next up is Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 from the PlayStation 2. And this one was really difficult for me because I could not decide between it and Bully. However, I spent the most amount of time in Tenkaichi, and I also remembered all those times I spent with my cousins trash talking each other and hoping that the game wouldn't crash in the loading screen. Man, those were the good times. I love this game because of how Dragon Ball-esque it feels. It captures the fast-paced, explosive action of Dragon Ball, and it does it better than most of other anime games I've ever seen. It has the biggest roster, or at least had the biggest roster for a while, and the game makes you feel like you are truly fighting in the Dragon Ball universe, which is a crucial part of a successful 3D fighting game. I went back to it for this video and it's genuinely a great game, nostalgia aside. I enjoyed the gameplay far more than Sparking Zero because it was faster, more snappy, and hits actually had an impact. The movement in Tenkaichi 3 is also so smooth and offers so many more options compared to Sparking Zero. This game will always be one of the best games to ever exist in my opinion. Moving on to the Xbox 360, my favorite game from there was, as expected, Halo 3. Probably the greatest online experience I've ever had there as well. I have never heard more slurs in my life than when I played the 360.
Hey, you're just mad because I'll be able to do something with my fucking guitar in hands that you'll never be able to achieve in your entire life, kid. So yeah, you're gay.
A whole new vocabulary was unlocked during that time. And I kinda missed that toxicity because it was hilarious at the time. This game was a phenomenon that shaped Xbox's history, from finishing Master Chief's story as well as an improved gameplay from Halo 2, features like Forge and Theater mode that fostered creativity in the players. Kids were at school thinking about Halo, adults were at work thinking about Halo, PlayStation players were at home wishing they could play Halo. It was that big. Now of course, if you're younger and only grew up with Halo Infinite, then your experience is most definitely much different than those who grew up with the first Halos, because the downfall of this series is tragic, but then again, Microsoft can only blame itself for it. Anyways, moving on to the PlayStation 3, we have Infamous 2. For those of you who don't know this game, Infamous 2 is an open-world action-adventure game with strong elements of a superhero game and a third-person shooter. You follow the story of Cole, who gets access to electric powers. His mission is to grow powerful enough to face a world-ending entity known as the Beast, which is relentlessly pursuing him. Throughout your journey, you'll gain new elemental powers and face constant moral dilemmas with your choices of hero or villain status, dynamically altering Cole's abilities, appearance, and the story's outcome. What makes this game so fun is the feeling you get. You really feel strong, like you are powerful, zapping enemies with lightning, launching massive energy blasts, grinding on power lines, and gliding through the city with electric propulsion is incredibly satisfying. The movement is also great and a blast to do because of how fluid it is. There are choices to make in this game, which, as I mentioned before, is something I love in video games, especially when they actually affect the story or the character. In this case, choosing to be a hero or a villain changes your powers, your appearance, and the reaction of the citizens, and ultimately, the story's ending. And finally, the fights. Oh lord, it is so satisfying. Whether it's melee or unleashing massive electrical shocks, it does not disappoint. You will definitely leave satisfied. If you've never played this game, I highly recommend it. Next up is the go-to family consoles, the Wii, and my favorite game there is Inazuma 11 Strikers, which I know most of you probably never even heard of. It's a football anime game with superpowers. You have attacking techniques, defensive techniques, and special shots. I mean, look at this! You can't tell me it's not hype, especially if you've watched the anime. It doesn't really have a proper story mode, just a local menu where you can play the main team. As you win more games, you get access to those teams, and the players of those teams are able to be purchased, and you can add them to your club and use them in your main team. There are over 150 characters that are from the first 3 seasons of the show. There are other variations of this game, like the 2012 and the 2013 Strikers edition, which are objectively better gameplay-wise, but the original is the one that I grew up with and will always love more than the others because of my nostalgic reasons. Honorable mentions go to Wii Party and Wii Sport that I absolutely love because I spent hours playing them with my cousin in my cousin's house, but Inazuma 11 Strikers is a very unique love story. The next console is the Wii U, which was a massive flop, but they did release a masterpiece on there, which is Mario Maker. This game was basically a dream come true for Mario fans who have wanted to create their own levels for ages, and it became possible thanks to this game. They absolutely nailed the level building aspect of it because it makes building your own Super Mario levels easy and intuitive. The drag and drop interface feels natural, allowing anyone regardless of design experience to quickly grasp the tools and start creating. Yet it offers enough depth for truly complex and intricate designs. Unlike the traditional Mario Bros games where there is a last level, this game feels endless because people keep posting their levels, so you kinda get an infinite stream of levels that you can play. The variety is another strong point in this game because it allows for truly bizarre, challenging, puzzle-oriented, or even musical levels that Nintendo itself would never actually release. And finally, the nostalgia aspect of it is handled brilliantly, since it gives players the ability to switch between the distinct visual and gameplay styles of Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, and Super Mario Bros. U. The only negative thing I can say about this game is that it was released on the wrong console, but it's not really a problem anymore because we have Mario Maker 2 on the Switch, and who knows, maybe even Mario Maker 3 in the Switch too, including Super Mario Wonder mechanics. Only time will tell. Next up is the PlayStation 4, and my favorite game from it is Detroit Become Human, which is, by the way, my favorite story-based game ever. It has everything: incredible graphics, well-written characters, and a plot so well done it will have you crying your tears out by the end of it. If you're a sucker for choice-based games like me, then this is the holy grail. There are so many potential endings, and while I don't know the exact number because people online keep disagreeing, I found out that it's between 85 and 100 endings, which is insane. It shows that every single decision matters in the game. You can reach the later stages of the game as much as you can die in like your first hour of gameplay, which is genuinely fascinating. I think the strongest part about this approach is that you feel nervous behind every single decision, because it could mean catastrophe later on. Unlike other games where you have a safety net and you feel like your main character is gonna be okay, this one is not forgiving at all. You could make one choice in the early stages of the game and not think much of it, and then you end up regretting it 8 hours later into the game, where all your past decisions come back to haunt you. It's a surreal experience and I loved the characters so much, I genuinely felt joy and sadness as if I knew them. It's an absolute masterpiece that deserves all the praise it gets. On the Xbox One, my favorite game was Sunset Overdrive. It's an over-the-top open-world action-adventure game. Set in a colorful apocalypse-ridden Sunset City, you play as a customizable Fizco employee trying to survive after a new energy drink turns the population into monstrous mutant OD. If you played Spider-Man, you know how satisfying the swinging is. Well, its initial stages of trial were actually done in this game because it's made by the same company. And as you can imagine, movement in this game is like crack. You cannot stop. And the fact that it's included in the fighting system as well is incredible. You're grinding on rails, bouncing off cars, and wall running seamlessly blended with chaotic third-person shooting, using an arsenal of outrageous, often comedic weapons. It's a game that constantly breaks the fourth wall, celebrates movement, and never takes itself too seriously, making it such a unique experience. The story is also quite interesting and it got me hooked throughout the whole thing. But as I said, the gameplay of this game is just sensational. Like, it does not get boring. This is a very underrated game for how good it is, and I think the reason behind it is due to the fact that it's an Xbox One exclusive that released at launch. And knowing how bad the Xbox One launch was, it also affected the games that came on it, which is unfortunate. So if you've never played or heard of this game, please give it a chance, you will not regret it. Next up is the beloved Nintendo Switch, and I struggled to pick one game here because there are so many quality games, but I ended up going with the classic Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And I'm not gonna explain what the game is because everyone and their mother played it in a previous version or at least once in their lifetime. The reason I picked this over other games is its ability to bring people together. It's one of the only games right now that I still play with family, which brings that nostalgic feel every time we play. It brings maps from the past in a newer model, satisfying your memories and giving it a nice twist. The game is really fun, like really fun, and you will always have a good time, or an angry time depending on the day and whether Nintendo wants to screw you. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this game other than it's a legendary franchise. Now we've reached the most boring generation of consoles, the Series X and the PS5. Starting with the PS5, I chose Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. I know, it came out on the PlayStation 4, but I didn't play it then, so I'll talk about it now. Let's take a second to appreciate the breathtaking open world and the art direction of this game. Like, this is legit art. It's so beautiful. The scenery is gorgeous. Riding the horses as you explore the map is literally therapy. I sometimes just wander around the map appreciating the view. Another quality is obviously the combat, which is fluid and satisfying. Not as good as Sekiro in my opinion, but it's still very good nonetheless. However, the biggest quality of this game and what made me choose it is its story. The journey of Jin Sakai, caught between his samurai code of honor and the brutal necessities of warfare against the Mongol invaders, is a powerful and emotional journey. It explores themes of sacrifice, identity, and the price of survival, backed by strong character development and memorable side quests. It's very engaging and keeps you playing for a long time. The authenticity of this game is something I have to note as well, because you can tell developers took their time to immerse you in its setting. From the subtle guiding wind and the spirit animals that lead you to points of interest, to the Japanese voice acting with period-appropriate dialogue, and the respectful nod to Kurosawa films, including a dedicated Kurosawa mode, it feels like playing through a classic samurai epic. And the fact that it doesn't hold your hand to guide you, but encourages natural exploration, instead makes it even more immersive. A masterpiece of a game, and I cannot wait for its sequel. Last but not least is my favorite game from the Series X, which is Forza Horizon 5. The first thing you notice when playing the game is its beautiful scenery. The map of Mexico is arguably the series' most ambitious and visually breathtaking one. You have jungles and active volcanoes to arid desert, beautiful beaches, and vibrant cities. It's stunning to say the least. Its car collection is impressive with good details on each one, ranging from the cheapest to the most outrageous prices in every imaginable category. It also has Event Lab, which is the Mario Maker of Horizon. You can design, build, and share your own races, stunts, challenges, and entire custom game modes using the game's assets. It has provided an almost infinite supply of fresh content, making every play session potentially unique. Beyond the main campaign, the game constantly provides new challenges through its weekly festival playlists, seasonal championships, treasure hunts, and special events. So there's always something to do in this game. Be warned that if you buy the wheel and chair in real life, you will 100% become addicted and neglect your duties, so keep that in mind. No, but more seriously, playing the game on the full setup is like a top 10 gaming experiences ever. I only got to do it once and it was incredible. That is the end of my list. Did you have any games that are similar to mine, or is your list completely different? Make sure to let me know in the comment section down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.